All right, I'm sorry. All right. Now, wait a minute. You want Courtois back. You want Courtois back after
No.
After Kepa? Wait a minute. Kepa, you want Courtois back.
No. I want someone new. Kepa, we didn't know.
No, you
Courtois,
know.
Courtois was being...
If you listen to me, you knew. You knew
he was
all the
being
way.
heralded. Courtois was being heralded as like this great keeper, and then the World Cup happened, and he scored the goal.
Yeah.
Was it the World Cup or was it Euros?
It was.
And then that dude was always a heart. He was always making me skip a heartbeat.
But now Kepa makes you skip even more heartbeats, especially.
No. See, Kepa doesn't have the careless giveaways like Courtois. Like Courtois thinks he's good with the ball at his feet.
All Kepa does is allow soft goals, and his back line's like Kepa.
Okay, right. I'll rather that happen than what happened today to Real Madrid, where you're trying to play the ball out the back. You're like, what are you doing? Just get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Well, all we can say, good sir, about that Real Madrid is that Real Madrid fans, even if Sergio Ramos was on the back line too, he wouldn't have let Raphael Varane nowhere because his behind got sent off in the first leg with the red card. And, by the way, shout out to Adam Shine. We're going to play the voiceover, but we're having this live on Twitter live, and I need to use my other phone and whatnot. All I can say is that Memphis is like pie, good like pie. The pie, Memphis is good like pie. Shout out to you, Adam. Right. Shout out to the design. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. It is time for another great edition of Americans in Green Soccer.
Clutch, all say shit with the hands. Can I count on you when times get hard?
Yes, indeed. Great sir, James Eddy alongside me.
Try to bring you on a
Jerell Jones. This is a special episode because we celebrate the return of the Champions League. This is our first episode doing a Champions League-esque show, considering it is a recap, not a pre-cap, a recap, especially for those of you over in Europe still watching us live and direct on Twitter Live, and those tremendous people at Bigo Live all the way. Shout out to you, Bigo Live, especially since you're going to be helping with giving me extra compensation all the way because you're sensational and you got me like that. So this is why I'm navigating like this. And I'm here with good Sir James Eddy, who clearly, as you saw in the intro right there, people, he's just getting at his former Chelsea goalkeeper, excluding his new Chelsea goalkeeper, who may not even play tomorrow or whatnot when they lose.
Oh, he's definitely not playing. It's not a maybe. He's definitely not playing.
Oh man, Kepa A. All I can say is that, sir, where will you end up literally in September? Because you have a month, like less than a month to move in this COVID-19 era. Look, we'll focus on Chelsea tomorrow when their season ends officially.
He's gonna end up on left bench, like the kids, like one of my teammates used to say when I played baseball. What position you play? Left bench.
Yeah, that's all I can say is a lot of pain. Shout out to all you wonderful people on Twitter, on Twitter all the way. I can't see y'all, but I will shout out all the way because I don't have a stand for my phone yet, which I could have easily gotten, but that's what it is with that. So, sir, you know what? I thought City and Real Madrid were going to obviously start with. But with Lyon and Juventus, there's a funny thing that has happened and transpired or whatever as a talking point. And it's something where, and this is the thing where what makes this competition so fascinating is that there's a real pressure for multiple managers to win this season in the Champions League, more than like NFL coaches or NBA coaches or whatnot. It really is a pivotal season for managers to win Champions League where if their club
do you want to, not to cut you off, but did you want to explain like the magnitude of Champions League for like certain people who might not understand?
James, this is not the place for us to do that. This is what people who we assume their intelligence and knowledge of soccer is already there and whatnot, where they wouldn't be watching our podcast, where I don't have to explain, if their team has to go through on away goals. That's what I was so glad CBS didn't do today and whatnot. They did not do the nonsense of the repeated, because Fox was still doing it towards the end of their tenure. They were literally trying to explain what does it take to get through or whatnot in a tie. Thankfully, CBS, you did not do that. It was an excellent first day overall. Or even Adam Shine and whatnot doing highlights. It was the natural. Now, shout out all the way to my good people and a new awesome friend, even though she officially wasn't at CBS, but she was doing the post-match interviews or whatnot. Well, I will get her information in a second in terms of her awesome name. But it was just something that was so spectacular with her overall. And I will shout her out all the way. The great Seema Jaswal. Shout out to you, awesome lady. You will be a future guest, hopefully, on this podcast as we discussed overall. So these managers under pressure. And it's Thomas Tuchel of PSG, despite their break. He's expected to win the Champions League. Pep Guardiola, who we'll get into in a second, even though his job isn't on the line, but Manchester City, they are only winning the Champions League. And it comes to the third manager with real pressure to win the Champions League this season. Amazingly enough, in his first season at Juventus, is Mauricio Sarri, James' former manager at Chelsea and terrific manager at Napoli. And,
what bit?
Well, Sarri Ball, last at that whole intro, whatnot, because Sarri Ball is sorry sad at the moment because Juventus, they should have knew this was coming to Lyon, despite them feeling that after all these months that they're back in Juventus, that they still thought that they were going to advance, and that Lyon not having any official matches because of Lyon doing the proper decision to me of ending their season and trying to contain, in terms of France trying to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. And I feel that Lyon and PSG are going to benefit from that decision. And to me, today showed that overall, where I just felt that, and I should have said this officially on Twitter or to you directly, that I just felt that Lyon was really going to do it, but more so because Juventus their squad is old, and they feel a lot of pressure to win this competition, being 9 straight years champions of Serie A, which is still a remarkable feat. No matter what it is, it's still incredible for that team in that league, where it's not the Scottish Premier League, and it's not even Liga NOS in Portugal or the Eredivisie, where certain 3 teams are going to win it. For them to still do it, where still a lot of talented teams in Il Calcio is incredible, but they won the Champions League so badly. They've only won the Champions League twice in terms of, or at least they only won European crowns twice. They have not, I remember, if I can remember, won the Champions League in the Champions League format of the European Cup. AC Milan is the standard bearer of the country when it comes to being European champions. And they are saying to themselves, we are 9 straight years winning the Champions League. We bought Cristiano Ronaldo. It was controversial that they bought Cristiano Ronaldo because they had to lay off workers, literally in terms of factories associated with Juventus in terms of sponsors, because of bringing Cristiano Ronaldo, because of the financial implications of that. So they have badly wanted this crown. And considering they felt okay, they were close when they lost to Real Madrid a few seasons back in the final in Cardiff, thanks to Cristiano actually being brilliant that day, believe it have to be said. And they just felt that eventually it would be their time to finally win this coveted prize. They've been begging to win since the 90s, 2000s. And they fell flat again, where Mauricio Sarri, amazingly enough, is now being discussed as being fired. After they did not advance past Lyon. James, What more do you need to say?
I don't know. It's irrational. It doesn't make sense. Well, it does make sense in my mind. That was what I was about to say. It sounds irrational, but it semi makes sense in my mind, right? Like it's kind of like
speak that Italian craziness in Turin right now, because it's hard to really. I mean, I know, but it's just hearing from you.
It's like if Steve Kerr. So if you took that, like Steve Kerr had that 73 win season,
mm-hmm.
and they lost to Cleveland
mm-hmm.
in the finals.
Yep, certain means too.
It's like imagine if I'm trying to think if like Larry Brown was available, or like some young hot stud coach was available, or you could pay them some absurd amount of money for them, like the next future Red Auerbach was available. Like that's the way soccer, that's the way football, their mind is. Like the next new hotness could be available. So you didn't do what you were supposed to do. We gave you all the tools,
mm-hmm.
right? Like we provided you. You have the world's best player.
Second best player. What?
That could be argued.
What? James,
I'm not saying
a special discussion now.
I'm not saying that I'm arguing it. I'm saying that it can be argued.
No, it cannot be argued whatsoever. But continue.
So you got arguably the world's best player, right? You have arguably one of the best scorers in the world in Higuain.
Dybala, right? Great.
You got Dybala, who's one of the better young talents. I don't know how long you'll be saying young talents for.
And he was the MVP of the Serie A season. Serie A said he was the best player of the season to upset a lot of Cristiano fans.
Your back is pretty solid. It's okay. It's serviceable. But you have talented stars who've contributed to on other teams and been successful talent. Like their second tier stars are legit stars. Like if they went to soul clubs, I'm thinking about Cuadrado. I'm thinking about
Pjanic, I would say.
Pjanic, yep. I'm trying to see who's actually playing because they're replaying the game now. Because I don't want to talk about people who I know on the team and did not contribute to tonight.
Well, they bought De Ligt from Ajax as a center back. Was supposed to be with Bonucci, their next great center back.
Yes.
How great he was with Ajax last season when they made finals. You probably see Memphis Depay on the replay with the penalty goal overall. Bentancur, talented Uruguayan, honestly emerging one of the more underrated players. To me overall, it's just the fact though, James, that in terms of Bernardeschi, Federico Bernardeschi is a real live wire talent, and he had a tremendous dribble today where he should have scored and should have really put Juventus really up in the tie, and he actually just tried to walk it into the goal, only for a tremendous last tackle by, I think, Jason Denier. So
I saw that. That was excellent. That was some excellent dribbling. Oh, my God. That looked magical.
He's always been a special talent at Fiorentina, Bernardeschi. And honestly, he's a guy that could really lead Italy back to some glory if they, use him right and if he plays consistent. But
so going back to what I was saying, you have that team, and they got bounced out even in an unprecedented year. They got bounced out before quarterfinal.
Yeah, it's horrible,
right? Like, and then we're talking about who they lost to.
Mm-hmm. And that's key. Like the first leg, people criticize Sarri for getting outcoached by Rudi Garcia. And I forgot they have Adrian Rabiot on the scene, who I've really liked and whatnot, who's a real talent in midfield and who still should be at PSG if he didn't have any issues with Thomas Tuchel, but Rabiot, he doesn't like to work on the defensive end. But that's the thing. I just feel that this Juve squad, this team is old. This team is still, even though they tried to filter in a few young players, this team is still really old. When Ronaldo is still the focal point of this team, and honestly, the 2 goals that he scored today, one from penalty, and the other one, Lyon, it was a fine hit by Ronaldo, still showing that he can still shoot with his left foot just like his right. But Anthony Lopez, Lyon's goalkeeper, who has been real talented in the mainstay of Lyon, but there's a reason why he has not unseated Rui Patricio as Portugal's number 1. Because Rui Patricio has been always so incredibly underrated, honestly, for like at least 12 years now. I mean, the guy is fantastic. But Anthony Lopez, he just is not that good at making saves that he should make like Rui Patricio is. And that goal that he gave, even though Ronaldo's tremendous hit, great outside the box, Lopez, Peter Schmeichel was saying, I almost said Cassius Schmeichel. Peter Schmeichel was saying, you know, and you could obviously see it was a save that
he was looking like Casper's dad today.
As you said earlier, he sure did. It was a save that he should have made, and he should have used his left hand. And obviously, we're sitting at home watching the damn game. It's a lot harder to say that or whatnot. But for those that are like Peter Schmeichel, one of the legendary goalkeepers of the game, you know, he would be right on that. And it was a save that should have happened. So. There's that tremendous dribble by Bernardeschi. I mean, outstanding dribble by this, still tremendous talent. And Denier with
when I saw that clip, I was wondering, did he not think Ronaldo was gonna hit it? That's what it was looking like to me. I don't know. It looked like he was so late with the reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to figure out. It looked like one of those kind of like moments where you're watching Steph Curry. Yeah. You're like, oh, is he going to shoot it? And then he shot it. And by the time you were like, oh, is he going to the ball's whizzing past your head. That's what it looked like to me. I think it was such a fantastic shot. I think Lyon's defense was probably thinking similar to what you were saying is,
oh, yeah.
Ronaldo's he's too old to strike that. And then he struck it, and it was like, oh, okay.
Man, it's just something where, you know, I just felt overall that was something that you didn't see consistently in this competition from Bernardeschi. You didn't see that overall from this team. I mean, Lopez, by the way, he was at fault for that. Just looking back on DVR, where he went down too early. And by the way, this is at a game where Lyon was already up 2-0. So that was really, honestly, James, believe it or not, oh my goodness, that is outstanding from. I think it's Marcelo actually, not Denier. If I'm looking at it again, but that was Juventus' only clear chance really of the match, because you had the Ronaldo penalty and then his hit. They were like penalty, and then his second goal was from distance. They did not create really a cutting edge chance other than that moment from Bernardeschi. They could not break down Lyon. And Sarri is an offensive manager, and he, no matter whatever, he knows how to coach offense, or at least coach offense pretty decently well. And I got to tell you, I just feel that this squad, Higuain's up there. You got Cristiano, you know, even though he's got still decent.
I think two things make it troubling. I think Higuain doesn't fit in with kind of a three-headed attack with Ronaldo and Dybala. I think Dybala is amazing when he can make runs similar to Messi. When he can play a similar style to Messi where he's cutting and weaving. I think that's where he's at his biggest advantage. And I think Ronaldo at this point, I don't know. It makes it difficult, because who's to say in a situation like this that Ronaldo is going to have the ball on his feet? Because looking at this game, they need someone to kind of be the person to hold and not really take control, but hold and possess, and then coordinate some of the offensive movement together.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, it's just they don't get enough from Pjanic in the midfield in terms of the energy. Shout out to the good sir Claudio Marquisio, this great sir. I'm honored or whatever that he followed me. I gotta see if he'll get on this podcast one of these days or do an episode or whatnot. because he's good side. They miss him because he's had his injuries and he's getting up there, unfortunately, in age a little bit. They just don't have any real midfield presence, I think, to me overall. I mean, it didn't work out for Emre Can. That's why he's at Borussia Dortmund when he should have been the guy. You know, Sami Khedira has faded away in terms of his career. And they just really have not done a good job to me in this midfield.
I was wondering what happened to Sammy. They looked really good when they had Khedira earlier in the season. What happened?
I think certain injuries, if I can remember, all the way where he's just, you know, he's getting up there in age, and you know he's part of these many great German midfielders of this decade, where you have him, Toni Kroos, Mesut Ozil, of course, Schweinsteiger is retired, but they're just not enough in Juventus, and I feel that Sarri is unfortunately going to take it because of how bad the first leg went. When it's like, well, you got to understand, like, it's hard to win on the road in Champions League in the knockout stages. Like, it's something that people forget that. And it's not the end of the world if you don't win, you know? And I just find it just kind of odd. I find it really, really odd how they're going to then have this upheaval quick and then look for another manager in the COVID-19 era and think that this is going to be a solution where it's the squad. It's really the squad. Ronaldo got most of his goal season from penalties. You know, and today a penalty, the second goal, a good shot from distance, but should have been saved. Higuain, he's not a lead anymore. He definitely is not. You know, Dybala is the thing where, you know, he's good, but he should be more the focal point. And then you got Ronaldo on the team, where they was wondering, can Dybala and Ronaldo play with each other? So, you know, it's just something where Juventus, they need to look at themselves and say to themselves, all right, just because we're dominating Serie A does not mean that we are truly at the level that we need to be, that we were a few seasons back. Bonucci's getting up there in age after his return. There's just a lot of moving parts to a thing. They went and sold. They needed to develop Moises Kean, and for some odd reason, after they hyped him up and built him up, they were like, "Oh, time for you to go to Everton," and that was some weird things. It was really odd. It was like, wait, he's going to Everton? Like, y'all hyped this kid up, like this Italian prodigy or whatever. Like, this guy, like, is not like Balotelli, you know, where you can't blame him as being like an volatile black person or whatnot. He's the kid for y'all, and y'all.
But he was when it looked like they were missing a piece. I didn't think Ronaldo was the piece that they were missing when it was just like the ball. When they were like, you know, they looked like they were competing still in Champions League. They got farther than they did this time around, and they were, you know, I wouldn't say they were a little engine that could, but they weren't like, you know, so like some of the bigger squad. I think it was really interesting. I think once they got Ronaldo, it was kind of like people were thinking, okay, they're definitely in the picture. You know what I mean? But I think the question about can him and Dybala playing together, and then obviously you don't have the ball, you don't have enough possession and balls for Keane to be there. Keane is also helpful in making some of those runs as well. So it made it very, very, it was interesting, that decision to bring Ronaldo there. And I know that's going to sound really, really backwards to say like Ronaldo joining a team, but it's not a situation like Real. It was more like, you know, they had established kind of what their identity were. They were making runs. Everyone knows the Ronaldo move wasn't about winning Serie A. And I think that's why I was kind of saying the conversation about explaining Champions League a little bit to people. Like I was saying, they lost to Lyon. You got to look at who they lost to as well, right? Like Lyon is one of those teams who kind of, they play good soccer, but you kind of expect them to get bounced once the quarterfinals come around, right? Like it's like, oh, you guys made a great run. You made it past group stage and knockout and into knockouts, and now, all right, cool. It was good to see you at the round of 16. See you again the same time next year, right? Like,
and this is Lyon team. This is, you know, say quick and now. This is credit Rudi Garcia, besides like coming back from COVID-19. And this was my concern because I said they were arrested by Juventus. They had to kind of really earn this title in Serie A. And it's this weird period of wondering when do you rest, when don't you rest or whatever or whatnot. For them, this is a Lyon team that has lost in the past 2 seasons. Quarantine Tolisso, tremendous talent, and I feel like Bayern Munich, he hasn't been able to fully shine because of injuries and other stuff, but he's really the perfect midfielder in terms of box to box, but can pass, can shoot, can really do it all and whatnot. Then they lost Alexander Lacazette. They lost Mario Diaz in terms of Real Madrid, who was a real live wire for them and Lyon and whatnot. They lost a lot of talent. I mean, Nabil Fekir, they lost and whatnot. They lost Nabil Fekir to Real Betis. So they, as always with Lyon, they've had so much turnaround and change until they produce these players as quality. And yet, they still, deserve to really get bounced out by Juventus, and Juventus look poor. In the first leg, back in normal time, back in the dark, the black and white days of March 2020, March 2020, or
when people were allowed in the stadium.
Yeah, they were, because they were one of the last games that were allowed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm remembering that. So that's the pretty wild thing about it. So very disappointing for Juventus. Their fans are really pissed off tonight, especially, with Italy going what they're going through in Turin. And but they would be foolish to me to be like, okay, sorry, we'll give you 1 season, then you're fired. I mean, it just like, then who are you gonna get? Who are you going to get?
Similar to what we were just talking about, Andrew. These teams are not making moves, as we just were kind of establishing as well. Talking about, Lyon a little bit. These teams are not making moves to win Serie A. They're not making moves for incremental things, right? So you got to be making. This is for Champions League, right? Like, so it's similar to our Premier League conversation that we had last week. What are the moves that are going to bring you the Champions League trophy? That's what it's about. And I don't know what else they can do from here. Like, I truly don't. They, like you were saying, they kind of stuck. I wouldn't say their team is old, but everybody's in their prime, right? Like,
I mean,
they got a lot of guys who are like
guys that's gone. There's some guys like Cristiano, like no matter what he's trying to do and everything like that, he's not really in his prime like that in terms of really being able to truly dominate a game against elite competition, or at least global competition on a regular basis. Higuain's past it now. Giannis is sadly past it because he's a tremendous free kick taker and was quality midfielder, for a good few seasons. But now it's just, I think he's past it. I think Bonucci, he's getting up there, Bonucci. And I think
Bonucci's getting up there. He is getting up there.
So I think there's a lot of, I just think that there's a lot of issues with this team. And even next year, I still see them like a good bit away from being next to the Liverpools, the Man Cities, and Manchester United comes back in. And then we have to see what happens. Well, Real Madrid, they'll be back in a certain way. And then we'll have to see what happens with Barcelona over this next month. And then Bayern Munich, obviously. So I think that, and PSG. So I think that, and then their own league, Inter Milan is rising now. Inter Milan came close. Atlanta, if they can keep their team intact, I mean, I
was gonna say that's the big question for Atlanta, is if they can keep their team intact.
Well, that would be interesting to see and whatnot, because they lost Frank Kessie to AC Milan, but they picked it up all the way. They just kept on rolling, and they've gotten better and better, which is just an incredible story. Now, to the other side of the night, because people probably thought that we were going to start with that, but we got you, people, because we want to do this real quick, because this is something where we didn't want this to be too long of an episode, but we'll get right into it overall. First, it was just, for Man City, they, felt beating Real Madrid in the Bernabeu out 2-1 at home, only to then be not rewarded with any fans, in terms of this leg or whatever, was definitely kind of cool, especially a Real Madrid team that's excited that they won the title in La Liga. They played really well. They were solid in the back. They were explosive whenever they wanted to. Just good vibes and everything. Winning La Liga after Barcelona's dominated it in the whole last decade. They are in a good level of spirit and whatnot, and they're saying themselves, hey, they're not playing with fans, City. And City, they're leaky at the back. You know, we could do this. We could certainly do this and whatnot easily. And you know, City is saying themselves, like, yeah, we got to be wary of this and whatnot in terms of Real. But City, despite Benzema's goal, they showed how Real Madrid and now Barcelona, we'll see some more, but Barcelona proved this last season, how Real Madrid and Barcelona really have declined, and how City and Liverpool have ascended, and how it was really not a good look for Liverpool, honestly, to lose to Atletico Madrid, because they are realistically better than Atletico Madrid and are elite and should have really been contending to defend their title and, you know, overall. So you just saw it in the back today, and this is something where in the first leg, Sergio Ramos, people in watching La Liga this season, they just wanted to forget about what happened. They were like, oh, he's scoring goals. Oh, he's such a leader and everything like that, which he is. He's a tremendous center back, whatnot. But he, in terms of a lot of things, he's scoring penalty goals, headed goals. Oh, he's a great dribbler, technique, and all this stuff. But at times, though, defensively, he can do crazy ASS things. And the first leg, he cost the team the tie, whatnot, getting the red card, getting sent off, and then getting sent off for the second leg by just not trusting that maybe Raheem Sterling will be an inconsistent finisher again and blow a chance that he should score. So, you know, you have him, because then you have some people say, well, they could have used Ramos. No, they have Varane, a World Cup winner and a fantastically talented center back who has all the traits that you would want in a center back. He's fast, one of the fastest center backs ever the game's seen. Like, literally can dribble a bit. Well, before today. You know, he has it all and everything, you know. And then you had Eder Milito, who is a younger version of Varane, who was basically like a twin version, who they got big money signing from Porto, incredibly fast too. He had Inaki Williams in his pocket, and Inaki Williams is fast for Athletic Bilbao, which was a fascinating thing when they played against each other about 5-6 weeks ago when La Liga resumed with their restart. He's basically like a second version of Raphael Varane. But Zinedine Zidane, sometimes whatever, he's not tactically sound like Pep Guardiola, like the elite managers of the world, like Jurgen Klopp, like Hansi Flick of Bayern Munich, showing himself whatever. Because he did not emphasize to his team, we cannot dribble out the back against Manchester City. Just because we're Real Madrid does not mean that, you know, we can still do this, especially with Sergio Ramos, our best dribbling center back, not available. Not even he still would have been pressed and could have made a mistake, as he's prone to do sometimes, Sergio Ramos. And that was the key in this game, was the fact that City was going to say, you know what, we are better at shooting, dribbling out the back. And we know that you need to go, but you will just not kick the ball forward like Liverpool does against Manchester City, which is an obvious. If I'm saying that over here, James, that one of the greatest players of all time, Zidane, has won 3 Champions League as a manager. He should be able to see that. And then this is when people be like, oh, Zidane's not really a tactical coach or whatever. And I'm like, man, like, y'all harsh over there. And then you see, wow, they are right on that. Because Courtois should have been kicking it forward. We're going to kick it forward. You know, so we could get City. We could get City if we do this right. Kick it forward like Liverpool does. Just kick it forward. They are just too prideful. And say, no, we're still Real Madrid. It's like City. We can pass out the back. Bam. Courtois puts him in danger. But Varane still has time. He does not realize this or whatever. And Gabriel Jesus, his credit, him and Sterling, they just did it massively today. Timed it perfectly. Put the pressure on Varane. It was like, I could coerce him into a mistake. And the mistake happened. And Sterling didn't watch up that finish. and then they were on their way, and then Real Madrid was already on the back foot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to add towards that, sir?
I just was thinking the exact same thing that you were just saying. Everybody clearly knows that City has been leaky in the back. Everyone clearly knows that Pep is looking for a center back in this transfer window.
As he got Nathan Ake, by the way.
He got Nathan Ake,
wonderful move.
who is absolutely amazing.
Woo! It's like they got Virgil Van Dijk now. Liverpool.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tamar. You need. Like I said, James. They need a forward. They need Harry Kane or Mobley. But as you
don't need a forward.
All right. Okay.
They don't need a forward.
All right. Atletico Madrid says they probably do.
They don't need a forward.
Well,
so, but what they do, but everybody knows that. Everyone knew that, and I just still don't. This was the penalty? Wow. Or is this a free kick?
It's a free kick, if I remember. I gotta remember. But
it's
watching Leon. But as you said,
so they clearly, like, I don't know how Real. I think what hurt Real the most. This is gonna sound really, really weird. I think what really hurt Real the most was winning La Liga. I think once they won La Liga, it was kind of like, oh, so we are still Real Madrid. And it was like when they were playing back then, right? It was like, oh, we don't know who we are. We got to fight. We got to compete. And they would have came and had been more prepared tactically to at least adjust and think about it. I think them winning La Liga also, it was kind of like, okay, we can just show up. They're going to see the white shirts and everything's going to be fine. Even though they wore pink shirts today.
And even though they lost the first leg at home 2-1. You know?
So I think that's kind of what it was. I think the hubris got to them, similar to what you were saying. Everyone knew that the ball over the top is the game to play against City, especially this year. It's just too much to get through. City already, even in previous seasons, already played pretty high press, especially when you had Aguero and Sterling up front. Gabriel Jesus, you can kind of get away with a little bit with playing out the back, but with those two, they were always over there. And the funny part is, similar to what you were saying, Courtois should be having nightmares because when he was with Chelsea, that's what City used to do to him all the freaking time. So I don't know how he just didn't.
Yep. And Schmeichel said this earlier, and I think Jamie Carragher says after the game that Courtois is not the dribble goalie. You know, he's a fantastic goalkeeper with shot stopping, crosses, everything like that. But when it comes to really dribbling out the back, and that's why, you know, they didn't mind getting Kepa because they're like, oh, Kepa, you can do this at Chelsea, you know, better than Courtois. He just is not the guy that you want dribbling. You know, just like Manuel Neuer. Manuel Neuer, are the best keeper in the world. Ter Stegen, I think, is a little better. But, you know, it's Jan Oblak outstanding, Alisson Becker. But it's something where Manuel Neuer, when he tries to dribble sometimes, does the sweeper keeper stuff. It's like, you ain't even David De Gea dribbling the ball, Manuel Neuer. And so, you know, you make these mistakes. There's no need for you to do that. And he's been criticized with that. And Courtois didn't need to do that on the first goal. City really could have had a second, honestly, if they had before Benzema scared the crap out of them and reminded them of who they were playing. Because Juan Carcelo he didn't have as bad as days were wrong. And Danny Carvajal really struggled too. But he, you know, gave that up or whatnot. And it was not a good where he let Rodrigo dribble lovely pass. And we know he didn't show any effort. And City again, their center backs. I mean, God bless Fernandinho. But him and Laporte is really good. But Laporte did not pick up his countryman Benzema. But no one was around him. I mean, you got Benzema, who was really back to his best, probably playing his best of his career, honestly. And no one picks him up after Rodrigo dances around Cancelo. And it was something with Pep Guardiola obviously was on edge. He's like, damn it, I got the tactics again, but we could go out. You know, and it just, if something goes their way, we can go out or whatever, something like that. And, you know, then thankfully, then you saw, at least for their standpoint, again, Real Madrid being arrogant about La Liga and not understanding how they were fortunate that Barcelona was in turmoil a little bit this season because Real Madrid, and how I was so glad. I was so glad. And I may make it the photo image of this YouTube video for Gareth Bale. Because Gareth Bale, James, they asked him if he wanted to go with the team. Gareth Bale said, I just don't feel like traveling because I'm not going to play. And Zidane said, well, he just didn't want to travel with us or whatnot. And it was something that was so fitting for a man, Gareth Bale, who had to celebrate his birthday watching Real Madrid celebrate while he's on the bench, you know, on his birthday. Can't even get that from Zidane. And he just said, you know what? Why would I even waste my time going over there? I mean, hell, I could even get a case of COVID going over all the way up there. And it's something where, why would I waste my time? Why would I waste my time? This be my last Champions League moment with Real Madrid, possibly, with me on the bench and watching us lose. Why would I do that? Why would I even do that? So all I can say is that Gareth Bale may have the last laugh, and he would certainly have the last laugh if he scores against Real Madrid for his next team. Because I think he's not going to go to China. I think he's going to go back to the Premier League. And Real Madrid, they've just been so dumb. When Florentino Perez let Zidane devalue him, which didn't make, I just didn't understand that. You bought this man for all this money. And no, you couldn't sell him to the CSL, the Chinese Super League, as you tried to plan to. Because they were asking for a lower price and you went to sell for higher. You mean to tell me that you're going to let this guy go for the money that you paid for him, paid more than you did Cristiano? And because of that,
I said, you're just going to let him walk.
For basically half the price. Well, look, I know Manchester United said they're getting Jadon Sancho. They said the deal places, they just got to work out on transfer fee. But with Dortmund. But if you're anyone that's in the league club or the United, thing like that, you get Gareth Bale for the cheap. You don't have to start him. He can rest his handshake play here and there. Sky's the limit. I mean, I'm just like, there's some things where you realize that the people that literally play this game and are of this game over there, and you're like, damn, sometimes y'all make decisions that's so irrational. It's like you just started watching soccer like Adam Shine did. You know. So, you know, on that note, quickly, sir, you know, now with 2 games tomorrow, well, 1 game really. You know, no offense to the Blues. But Christian Blues, I can't believe this. They're saying that he could actually play this match because
I heard he might miss the start of the Premier League, so I don't know.
Yeah, Clyde says that when it said that nonsense, and I'm like, let me see it. This man, I'm just making sure. I was like, what? Like, because he mentioned his name. I'm like, there's no way he's playing after that hamstring, after that pull. Okay, good. Just making sure he's definitely not playing. All right. And
I was just about to say. I heard might be out to the start of the Premier League in September. He might miss the start of the season.
Yep. Well, all I know is that he would waste his time in Munich in this contest. You know, for your benefit, it would be good to see if Tammy Abraham could do something if they play him. I mean, they should, because Giroud, you know, look, Giroud's set up for a game that's close. You need goals, and you might as well be like, look, you might as well play you just to see if you can get a head start on Timo Werner when Timo.
Play all the young guys. I would say play all the young guys. Use it as a test for what we might be, as a preview for what we might be seeing in the next couple of weeks when the Premier League season starts up again. Let's see it, make it a test for that. That's what I think it should be with this. And then if they start to make a comeback, then we have a little fun.
And hey, it is a site. Well, Chelsea won their Champions League title in the Allianz Arena against, of all teams, Bayern Munich on their own soil. It would be like the Dolphins in the Super Bowl, losing the Super Bowl in Hard Rock Stadium overall to the Giants or to the Rams or to the Arizona Cardinals. How devastating that would be. So you never know. You never know what happens. But all I can say is that it should be a fun contest. And we get to see, again, Alphonso Davies, unfortunately, just like the first side, does not play against Christian Pulisic, where that would be something to see for a CONCACAF Player of the Year, but should obviously be Alphonso Davies, even if Christian Pulisic scored 5 goals tomorrow. It should be Alphonso Davies. Well, that would change the equation if Christian Pulisic did that.
I was just about to say, if Pulisic scored 5 goals tomorrow and they go on to win,
like Alphonso, you need to get back to left. You need to get back to the right winger. You know, sorry, Leroy Sané, that's what you need to tell if that went down. But still should do that. But the thing that's going to fascinate me even more tomorrow, and where I'll probably have to screen up even more on the big screen on this one, is I think tomorrow could be Lionel Messi. It could possibly be Lionel Messi's last game for Barcelona. Because Lionel Messi.
You think so?
Well, I had this talk with George DiMatteis, who thinks Messi's going to stay there forever. And Lionel Messi did not sign a new contract. Lionel Messi's very frustrated right now. He said himself, I've really put this team on, I put this club on my back, and I only have a few Champions League titles to show for it. Where I'm all about legacy too now, even though I'm a nice guy. But I worked so hard and everything, and now I'm captain, and I've seen the decline of the midfield. I've seen the decline of the back line where Gerard Piqué is up there. It's something where I've seen the decline of the bench. I've seen the decline overall of this club in terms of producing new players. Sorry, Ansu Fati or Roque Puig. I'm just not happy. And then Man City's always talked to me. I'm thinking about Man City. Pep is there. Oh, it's the Lord playing the Premier League. I got all these Cristiano fans that said I never played the Premier League, even though he's dominated Premier League clubs in the Champions League. They're like, oh, he never played the Premier League. He didn't win the World Cup, and he didn't play in the Premier League. And these factors, especially with City being still energized, a lot of young players, a lot of young talent, and Barcelona's about to fire Quique Setien, which would be even more unfair than Mauricio Sarri, when the man didn't even have a full season.
That's a bad one. That's a bad one.
And you brought him there because he was the perfect Barcelona coach for Real Madrid, for Real Betis, and this guy is really doing this. There's a lot of things that frustrate Lionel Messi, and if they go out tomorrow, Napoli, and because he has 1 year left. He has 1 year left on his Barcelona contract. That's all I'm saying. He's up. He's getting up there now. He's like, these are my years. People are trying to say this is a down year, even though I was the first player ever to score 20 goals and had 20 assists in La Liga history. That's why there's no discussion about who is the best player on earth overall. But James, I think honestly, I really do think that Napoli finished up the season decently, Serie A, but they still was well off the pace of Juventus and even Atlanta and Inter Milan. So it was kind of a disappointment for them. But
yeah, they should not lose. Barca should not lose tomorrow.
Yeah, it's hard to say where I think, man, it is really, really difficult to say on this one. Oh boy. I think Barcelona, despite the magic of Messi, and I think he certainly decided any single time, I really am very dicey on their prospects tomorrow. I'm about to flip a coin and literally say, whew, what this will be. All right, flip my imaginary coin. Yeah, they'll advance, but then they'll get slaughtered by Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals.
Okay, I was just about to say they should beat Napoli. They should beat Napoli. Napoli they had a meh season in Serie A.
They did.
They should beat Napoli. If they don't beat Napoli, then yeah, I'm with Messi. I'm not even thinking about it. We gone. I will pack his bags for him.
But the dangers of Napoli, Dress Mertens, I'm telling you, this man is such a special Belgian talent, as we all know. Overall, Lorenzo Insigne, really capable. My man, Arzu Malik, who, Robert Lewandowski gets all attention with Poland, but this guy has always been special when he stays healthy, for Napoli overall. He is still a real deal live wire. He's available. They have a lot of match winners at Napoli. Koulibaly becomes such a solid, center back for them where, some teams may think about buying him, whatnot.
I was going to say, he's hot on the market right now, so.
And you know what's fascinating? There are 3 small players of Jose Callejon. Callejon for the Cavalry.
Is Callejon still as fast as he was?
He's still pretty good, man. He's still pretty legit. They have a lot of ability. Kevin Malcutt, I forgot he was on the side. Very one of my favorite players, more underrated players overall from his time, at least in Lyon, if I can remember. And Irving Lozano's still there and whatnot, even though it hasn't gone the best way for him. But he is truly, Chicky Lozano, he is let's just say Raul Menez has it landslided for Mexico's Player of the Year, and why, as we talked about before, CONCACAF, they have an interesting decision, even though it's Alphonso Davies. But they have a lot of guys that really, really still hurt you on the day. And Alex Morent, quality goalkeeper all the way in terms of his abilities. I just think overall, that it's going to be an issue. Going to be an issue overall for Barcelona. And tell you, Morent, he's really a talented young goalkeeper. Truly, truly is for Napoli. Man, that's all I can say is that Barcelona slightly get through, but it's not going to leave any confidence. And then once Bayern Munich do what they do on next week to them, I think Bartolomeu, Barcelona press, a lot of issues. So, sir, like on that note, we're going to end it on this note for these games tomorrow, and then we'll proceed. For those watching on Beagle Live, thank you for watching overall, on this edition, the 7th episode of America's Then Create Soccer. Sir, do you have anything to say, to add or whatnot to today's proceedings and everything else?
No, it looked like there was a lot of quality games. It's unfortunate that it was on a Friday where people still had to work.
Very true. But yeah.
Trying to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, I will say CBS, they really, it was impressive first day from the studio show overall to get 2 guys like Roberto Martinez and Jamie Carragher, 2 of the best in the game. It was just no of the same bad mistakes that you see from American, pundits overall who aren't really versed with the players and really have this personal relationship with them. They're really great. Michael Richards, I think, was very good as well. He won in there. I will say the person, and being friends with that, Kate Addo all the way, the person that you didn't see, and hopefully you're able to see her tomorrow, who was really sensational today, I thought, was Alex Scott. Alex Scott was outstanding all across the board. And I'll tell you more about her tomorrow, but she really was really good and whatnot, where she was, like I said, it was like the Today Show where if you see Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kaffi, even though Good Morning America is a superior show, but it was like they were 2 female anchors that were really competent and really good, and it really. And Alex Scott was still an analyst, but she was doing the role like she was a female anchor. I'm like, man, Alex Scott, I mean, you're kind of good for doing this or whatever. Where I'm like, well, I'll talk to you about that on the long terms, James, in terms of like certain roster lineups or whatever, because I ain't got a lot of friends and whatnot in this industry overall, and I just want to make sure that it was not any competition towards them. So on that second note, whatnot, thank you once again for watching, everybody. Andrew Jerell Jones, James Eddy, we are out right now. It's been an outstanding episode. Americans did create soccer. We'll see you probably tomorrow for the recap of the other final round of 16 games. And the Champions League is back. And it's on CBS. Bye-bye. That'll shine. Shout out to you, America's biggest soccer fan. We out.